Hello everyone. So we are going to start with the second part of chapter 2, classification in plants. We have learned about the five kingdoms that Robert Whittaker has in 1969 given us. Now we'll start with each and every kingdom in details, starting with kingdom Monera. So let us revise what did we learn about kingdom Monera. First, they are prokaryotes. What are prokaryotes? That is, they are primitive in nature, primitive cells, and do not have nucleus. So it doesn't have a well developed nucleus. Okay? If they are unicellular, the microorganisms very small, we cannot see with bare eyes, so they are unicellular, microscopic. Then they have cell wall, but not of cellulose. So they have a cell wall like plant cells, but the plant cells have cell wall made of cellulose, but Monera has a cell wall which is not made up of cellulose. Okay, so as because the prokaryotes, no nuclear membrane is there, so the nuclear material is in an area called nucleoid. The nucleoid has the nuclear material in it. The mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. That is, they do not make their own food like plants. They depend on others for food. So the heterotrophic nutrition, it may be parasitic also. So this is a way of heterotrophic nutrition. That is, they depend on host plants or host organisms. They grow on it and they totally absorb the food from the host organism. So they might be parasitic in nature. The best example of this kingdom is bacteria. So we'll today study in details about bacteria. Now bacteria, which falls under kingdom Monera. So the bacteria, how does it look like? It is very small, microscopic. It is unicellular. Has a rigid cell wall. It does not have well developed nucleus, but it has nucleoid. Okay, now it also has a special covering, a gelatinous covering, proteinaceous, okay, which is called capsule. It has an extra covering called capsule is present in it. It can survive in extreme temperatures also. This bacteria is found everywhere, in water, in soil, in living beings, inside human beings also. It can survive in the mouth, in our intestine, okay, under our nails. So we need to wash our hands and keep it clean so that the harmful bacteria don't enter our body. Bacteria being very very small, they can be only seen under highly powered microscope which can magnify it multiple times. Okay, they are very simple in structure, but they can be of different types based on its shape. So based on the shapes of bacteria, there can be four forms of bacteria. Let's name it first: coccus, Bacillus, Spirillum, and Vibrio. The coccus bacteria is normally rounded, spherical in shape. Okay? Bacillus bacteria are rod shaped. They may be in chains or may be single. The spirillum bacteria is shaped like a spiral. Okay, the Vibrio bacteria are shaped like comma. They are comma shaped bacteria. So how we remember? This is spherical shaped like berries. This is Bacillus is rod shaped. Spirillum is spiral shaped. This is easy to remember. Vibrio is comma shaped. Okay, these are the four forms of bacteria. Is a prokaryotic cell. There are no membrane bound structure or cell organelles like mitochondria or plastids are absent. The nucleus is not well developed, so nucleolus is absent. Nuclear membrane is also not present in it. Okay, there are some stored food, maybe glycogen in the bacterial cell. Bacteria are friends as well as foes of human beings. It is because it is useful in many ways. It is used in industries, it is used to make medicines, it is used for digestion, in animals, grass eating animals. So it is used in agriculture, it is used in many ways, but it is also harmful. So, how is it harmful? It is responsible for quite a few diseases. So now we'll talk about first the usefulness of bacteria. So first starting with, it helps in curdling of milk. That milk is turned curd with the help of bacteria. Which bacteria? Lactobacillus. This bacteria helps the milk sugar, which is called lactose, to be changed to converted to lactic acid, which gives the sour taste of the curd. So the curdling of milk takes place because of the usefulness of the bacteria Lactobacillus. Okay. Next, manufacturing of vinegar. So vinegar we use in recipes, okay, chili chicken, Manchurian, we use vinegar. So what is vinegar? So vinegar is produced actually with the help of the bacteria Acetobacter aceti. Acetobacter aceti helps in the production of vinegar from fruit juices. So the bacteria acts on the fruit juice and forms vinegar, which is actually nothing but acetic acid. Okay. Now in the tanning of leather. So when the animal skin or the hide is taken off from the animal. So what happens? That has a lot of hair on it. So to remove that, tissue or hair that is present on the hides, that is for tanning, bacterial action is required. It is fermented so that the hair and the tissues are got rid of, and the tanned leather can be used for making bands or belts or whatever it is, so it won't rot anymore. Now, retting of jute fibers. Retting means making the plants which has flax plants soft so that fibers can be separated from it. Okay, it is separation of the plant fibers. So in the flax plants like maybe hemp or jute, what is done? It is soaked in water or thrown in the ponds for quite a few days. So when it is kept in the water in the pond, there is a bacteria called Clostridium in it, which acts on it, softens the fibers, and after it is retted or taken out from the water, the fibers can easily be separated. Now those fibers are used to make ropes or bags. So lots of usefulness is there of you. Lots of ways are there of using those fibers. Okay. Next, the uses of bacteria is next is formation of compost or manure. That is, if the agricultural waste is collected in a pit and left, then what will happen? The bacteria will act on it and transform it into manure or compost, which is very good for plants. It's a natural manure. Biogas and gobar gas can be produced with the help of bacteria, that is from the human or animal excreta which is collected in the sewage. The bacteria acts on it and a gas is produced. That gas can be used for, that is an inflammable gas and can be used for cooking purposes at home also. Now, nitrogen fixation. The plant needs nitrogen, but it cannot take nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. A lot of nitrogen is there in the atmosphere. It cannot take as free nitrogen. So, the nitrogen which is there in the soil, there are leguminous plants like pea or gram which have nodules in its roots. So, the leguminous plants have small nodules, swellings on its roots. So in these root nodules survive the bacteria called rhizobium. Okay, so the rhizobium bacteria fixes the nitrogen for the plant, converts it into nitrates so that the plant can use it. In return, the plant gives the rhizobium nutrition. So they survive as a symbiosis relationship by mutually benefiting each other. And what is happening? The nitrogen is being converted into nitrates so that the plant can use the nitrates. Now in digestion, how does it help? It helps especially the herbivore animals, the grass eating animals which depend on plants for its food. So the cell wall of the plant is made up of cellulose. So it is very difficult to digest cellulose. We cannot digest cellulose. So the cellulose is thrown out of the body as roughage because we don't have these bacteria which is there present in the digestive system of herbivores. So those bacteria help the herbivores to digest cellulose. Now, in human beings, the some bacteria survive in the large intestine and help us to produce vitamin B and vitamin K, which is required by our body. Now, the bacteria also act as scavengers, that is cleaning agents. Okay, scavengers. So what they do is the complex agricultural food materials that is thrown, they convert it into useful agricultural compounds like nitrates or sulfates or phosphates, so that it can be used by plants for agriculture. So this way they increase the soil fertility, and this is done by with the help of nitrifying bacteria. Now, whatever we studied was the usefulness of the bacteria in industries and also in agriculture. Now we will see how in medical science the bacteria are also is useful. Like in vaccines are used for protection from particular disease like typhoid, smallpox. Okay, so what is done is vaccine actually is a suspension of the pathogenic killed or weakened bacteria. So these bacteria, when they are introduced into a healthy person, it induces a mild attack of the disease. So when this mild attack occurs, the body sets an army to fight against it. That is called antibodies. So these antibodies are produced weakened bacteria that had been introduced into the body in the form of vaccine. Now, further, what happens? The body then gets ready to fight against this disease. So, therefore, if the person is infected by these bacteria again, the similar bacteria, the blood is already ready to kill those germs. Okay, so in the production of vaccines, killed or weakened bacteria is used. Now in medicines, there are many medicines, streptomycin, okay, where bacteria are used to produce those medicinal ointments or those medicines. Okay, like streptomycin, then chloromycetin, aureomycin, tetramycin. These are all these medicines which are produced by bacteria. So they inhibit growth of other pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, and thus help to control and cure diseases like typhoid, diphtheria, pneumonia. So they help the other germs to prevent, it prevents us from other bacteria from growing. Okay, so bacteria, now we'll talk about the harmfulness of bacteria. So bacteria, number one, it causes various diseases. Okay, so and so we should be aware of typhoid, pneumonia. Okay, now to name it, how is typhoid formed? By which bacteria? Salmonella typhimurium, tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumoniae, cholera by Vibrio cholerae, diphtheria by Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So these are the disease causing bacteria for these particular diseases. Apart from that, bacteria is also responsible for spoilage of food. So if we shouldn't have anything which has crossed the expiry date. So there's always a date mentioned in the eatables that we buy. We shouldn't eat anything beyond that. Okay, because it might be affected by bacteria and that can cause food poisoning. That's a very dangerous state where a person can be in. We maybe have to be hospitalized also because of too much of loose motions and vomiting. Okay, now bacteria are also bioweapons. Bioweapons means these are so very devastatingly dangerous that it can cause harm to a very huge number of human beings, or if affected by plants, if the bacteria used that affects plants negatively, then it can be destroying the crops. Okay, now we already know that a bioweapon coronavirus COVID-19 is on, which people say that some of the countries have introduced it as a bioweapon to win over the world. So let's not go into controversies, but I just narrated it to make you understand how come bacteria can also be used as a bio weapon.
We only have one cell, and inside each of us there aren't any organelles or a nucleus. We are bacteria, compared to you, we're quite exotic. We are bacteria, because we are prokaryotic. Some of us are tiny rods, known as bacilli. Some of us are tiny spheres, such as streptococci. We are bacteria, compared to you, we're quite exotic. We are bacteria, because we are prokaryotic. We're so small you'd hardly even notice that we're there. But there are trillions of us spread out everywhere. You'll find us in your gut and also on your skin. Mostly we are harmless, but some are pathogens. We are bacteria, compared to you, we're quite exotic. We are bacteria, because we are prokaryotic. We're so small you'd hardly even notice that we're there. But there are trillions of us spread out everywhere. We are bacteria, compared to you, we're quite exotic. We are bacteria, because we are prokaryotic.